Elegant City, or also known as the City of Majestic Waterfalls, has many tourist spots in its area, including the famous Maria Cristina and Tinago Falls. But despite all of these mesmerizing tourist spots, one particular attraction captured the eyes of many: the Kalesa. Transportation. Livelihood. Culture. How does one two-wheeled carriage shoulder the weight of all these substances to represent Philippines as a cosmopolitan whole? Tartanilea. Kalesa. This horse-led, two-wheeled carriage ensemble could mean different things to different people. For some, it could be the living testimony of history, and for others, it could be what brings their family food in their household. Two meanings of which lie in the very ends of a spectrum, but to whom do we owe the most needed recognition of? What a Kalesa really is. But in order to understand, we must first go back to where it all really began. 18th century. In the face of a newly growing Philippine industry, the need for transportation was in an all-time high for the nobility. While they think of the newly found archipelago as an addition to their empire, the Spaniards had to manage their affairs efficiently, and in time, being in one place to another was becoming very difficult, especially with no means of transportation already present. Hence, the Spaniards introduced the horse-drawn, two-wheeled carriage to transport people of nobility such as the Captain General, bishops, alcalde, gobernador filio, kapitan municipal, cabeza de barangay, and the like, including their families. And as years went on, while the Philippines have removed the Spaniards out of the picture, the Kalesa as a means of transportation remained, all while becoming one of the most highly appraised culture of the country up to this day. In the present modern times, economic rise have led to an influx of the use of motor vehicles and less of the cultural Kalesas in the country. The ever-staying presence of Kalesas, however, because of its history that ties from centuries reach beyond a sensitive touch of the Filipinos' history of bravery, patriotism, and independence, became a cultural icon. Garnering increasing demand for tourists and popularity that is also fueled with its continuing regression of numbers and the limited places that it can be seen in, the revived use of Kalesas for tourism caused quite a stir as real and online communities debate on the ethics of animal cruelty and whether these motions outweigh the withstanding representation of Kalesas as not just something that was, but still is. Kalesa served as a great example of an enduring heritage that Filipinos adopted from Spaniards during the Spanish regime. In the present time, with the aggravating and excessive weather conditions and also the economic inflation, overworking the horses of the Kalesa is a great concern, especially with mass media modeling towards a more pluralistic ideology and informed citizenry that is better forwarded by online platforms in order to raise issues like this and spark interests to mobilize interest groups and create a reaction towards social movements. PAWS, or the Philippine Animal Welfare Society, calls for better treatment of Kalesa horses after the increasing death rate commonly caused by overfatigue from overworking and heat stroke from the excessive weather conditions. The government also has forwarded assisting programs that aim to help coachmen better their Kalesas as well as rehab assistance for their horses. Although we may need to keep it into account that the said help and financial aids are ambiguous and boils itself as rather true for some and hearsay for others.
Adilim na wala, panapay maginamay sila ka ng panapay na sa tawag at ko na pirmado ng kapil sa ng karli sa dili wala on.
Okay, ang gusto sa mga tao, ma'am, dili pwede wala uni. Eh mao ni una sakyanan yun sa una pa nga wala pa sakyanan nga mga city limit.
Maling Kalesa, karaan ni sa nagdagan din sa iligan sa una pa mga 1950 pang siguro o dati na sa nagdagan din. Mao niya sa simbolo din sa iligan na ang Sartanilla mabay na una ginagdagan din.
Kaya ako bantog kaya hindi naman masagot na wala ako ng Kalesa.
Hello, my name is Caleb James Noble. I'm 17 years old and I've been living in Iligan for the past 5 to 6 years of my life. Siguro it's because naman. Diba, since as Filipinos we have a deep regard for our culture and for them. The Kalesa is one of the most prominent aspects in our culture. Tapos, paano siya? It's a nice one po siya na kwan. Nice one po siya na feeling na makasakay ka horse, tapos Kalesa, tapos makakakuha ka ba, you can feel na like, wow, it's like 18th century, 17th century culture, diba?
Hi, I'm Shane Joyce D. Canono. I'm 20 years old and I've been living here in Iligan for about 20 years now. Yes! I mean, I've been seeing a lot of Kalesas when I was still a child. Because I think it's been a part of our lifestyle and culture for hundreds of years now. Yes, that's why it's very hard to eradicate it from our system.
Kaya sa kasimana, bilang isang sa kadlaw duha baron. Kaya kung kuan, mo nang gitoy mo ali diri kay makapuway po yung ari diri. Kaya mo strike mo ganito luyang kabayo.
No, dili po ni tibok adlaw, ma'am. 4 hours lang ni ma'am. 4 hours. Oh, 4 hours kapin lang. Mula pas manggaling siya, maabot na siya 5, at least maabot ka sa balay. Kaya mag-travel pa man.
So sa isa ka adlaw duha ka
O
kabayo.
duha ka kabayo gyud, gusto bis, duha gyud ka kabayo ma'am.
Pero wala po yung biyahe sa gabi.
Dili kung gusto na mo maabot mi og mga 7, mga 8 ana. Pero di naman mi kaabot og 8 ma'am kay mga tao wala naman ang ningaw naman ang 8. Igud pareha sa una gyud nga napang market diya ma'am. Bisag alas 9 napagid akong tao. Karon nga wala nang market din na, nagid mi sa mga alas 7 wala na. Uli na mi.
Para sa buwan, kabayo, balang. Tumingon sila nga, order na kuno ang trabaho sa bayo. Adi man, kami nga kami kidala sa mga yun. Pakibalo kami sa oras na mo po na pag-abot sa 4 oras, ikrahin mo gina muna. May kwartag sa wala. Buabot ang kwarta o butag doon o pila. Basta pag-abot, once pag-abot sa 4 oras, amo gina sa ikrahin. O kay mo may yung saktong pamasapan niya.
Then, di ba naman po na puli-puli tayo?
Oo, puli-puli, duha mga kabayo. Sa isa karta na nila, duha ka kabayo, di mo gagal. Lain sa buntagon, lain kung kapunon. O, duha, dili pwede nga. Ikan sa buntag, hanto sa hapon. Wala, patay kabayo niya. Luya, di na mukaon. Ana, gatil bang mahal ng kabayo na karon, di na persona.
Yung kuwan sa kabayo, kuwan naman siya. Dagang mo kuwan. 5 hours na siya, dagang mo.
5 hours. So half day rin day gihapon.
O, ang bira siya. Bali sa isa ka daw. Duha ka kabayo mo dito.
May naghatag ang gobyerno, kanyang painting, pintal, kahoy. Nani sa budget na isa din tao sa natin to.
What's your budget until now?
Sa dito, munang ang among mga guba-guba, ipalista kay iyang gaan daw. Kaya nga, gobyerno ganin niya.
Salamat, Nay. Unsa ang budget na kuya, like per year or per month?
Quarter.
Quarter?
Karon murag dating na ma'am, murag 600,000 na kay murag kuan man na siya, murag isa gid ka tuig wala makuha ka. Wala nila nahatag sa amo. So ilan na siyang ihatag, pero ila pa na silang iyang ang bahinon siguro ma'am, murag duha na ihatag. Kay nadakan sila tapat kuno quarter ilan na ihatag. So meaning to si one quarter 150, di ba? Kay 600,000 man ang per year.
Lugi na yung anak ko like nag-sport lagi ka sa gobyerno.
Oo.
Tugo pa sa una.
Oo. Murag dili, murag bagko lang.
Pagko lang.
Murag ikuan mo gud sa tourism gud.
Wala man umurag wa man kumakakuha ng na. Anaan nino kanang mga parte sa tambal.
Tambal sa kabayo.
Oo, tambal mga vitamins o naga suportar.
Ang kuan mo gerte ang kato yung tambal kada semana ay kada tuig.
Dili na ay kuha lang mga 3 ka bulan, 4. Dili. Oo. Pwede may mato doon sa piscina, doon sa veterinarians mo. Mo-request mo rito kung saya mong kuha sa among hayop, may kabayo. Minus para may kaon. Kung nabaragi kang kuhan, tagaan na may tambal na yun. Ay!
Kuwan na, parang mag-inject sila sa kabayo, mag-immunize. Ano na?
Ang libre po na kaya ang kanay minay.
Oo.
I get where they're coming from, but saying that they will have to like eradicate all of Kalesas is absurd because it has a lot of advantages, like it reduces the amount of pollution we generate in the environment, and then it also helps a lot of people who are depending on Kalesas. It helps them generate profit. And third is I've read in a research once that a tired animal is a happy animal, but overworking is a different thing. I mean, I'm for the welfare of animals, but overworking them is another issue we have to tackle on.
Siguro, before ka master kayo, taga po definition ng cruelty yun. But it's, kung sa ato ang paki-relative mo na siya. Ang uban tao kay, yung wala, nagamit siya kabayo, wala, kuwilti na siya. Pero kung ba't wala siya, lagi sa yung ko ng kabayo, natigo yung kabayo, walang kuwilti. So, wala yung standard yun. Pero, in my opinion, I think it all boils down to management. It all boils down to management. Once kayo kagulo ka mo take care sa yung animal, of course, mo reflect yun na sa mga sword. Di pa necessary siguro na wala ang kalesa. Ang problema na siguro na sa ito ang ang mga drivers kay magi sila ba? Masyado kayo sila. Wala sila. Kasabot mo na kay Quadro. Ano mo asset mo mo. So, of course, para mo improve yung asset, magawin mo asset, you have to take care of it. Para di siya liability.
Personally, it's a whole new discovery for me because I didn't know back then that the government were helping the cotseros to further enhance their profit by using their animals. And I think the majority of the people also don't know that, because if they knew that the animals were not actually the horses rather were not actually overworked, they wouldn't have pushed to eradicate the kalesas. I'm a sole believer that animal welfare should be prioritized, but I guess the operation of Kalesa does not fit into the category of animal cruelty, since we know a while ago that they were shifting. So it does not fit into the overwork category, and I'm against eradicating Kalesa because it's been part of our culture since the Spaniards came into our country, and it would kill the livelihood of the people who are depending on it, and it would also kill the culture we've been protecting for about 100 years now.
In my opinion, I think it still plays a role in the tourism of our city. Of course, the Kalesa is a remainder of our old culture way back in the 1900s or 1800s. So I think tourists are bound to use the Kalesa for recreational purposes, and that in turn creates revenue for the tourism industry in our city.
Ever since the issue of whether the thriving livelihood turned culture sparked, it is not entirely certain if the stance of public opinion could ever be consolidated. On one side of the spectrum, people are outraged as to why horses are labored in the streets when nature dictates that they be placed in the lush fields on the countryside. And on the other side, people remain to be neutral on the idea of retaining the Kalesa as both a culture and a livelihood, as long as it remains regulated in order to avoid risk on the horse's health and welfare. But one thing is for sure, it is clear that both the government and a significant amount of people has established that the Kalesa remains as a part of elegant identity and culture that poses itself as a rare treasure to uphold. And that alone is all what it really takes to keep it alive, albeit ethical underpinnings. Kalesa.